Hello, my beautiful viewers out there. How are you feeling? Here in South Africa, it's very cold. So, I've got the bling and the protection on. So, I am feeling over the moon. I'm having guests from around the world. I cannot wait to share. I'm in South Africa. I've got Canada. I've got San Francisco. I've got hot Phoenix, Arizona. And I know I don't pronounce Phoenix right, but this is the best way for me to pronounce Phoenix. Phoenix? I can't. And then when we go all the way around, we're getting to um, Australia, I think Queenstown, she said, uh, uh, and then I don't know Tasmania, but Tasmania, I don't know if there's a suburb, but Tasmania. When I asked her, and one of my guests, I said, I always said I want to go to Tasmania. And yes, she's from Tasmania, and she actually made us on the Diamond Beauties and Tanzanite Heroes, 51 countries. We were so excited that we are now in 51 countries. So, my beautiful viewers out there, the Diamond Beauties and Tanzanite Heroes, my two amazing community, what does, if I say you this title, The Vulnerability Path, what does it mean for you? What does vulnerability means for you? Sometimes you think it's good to show everybody, to put that mask on and show everyone that you are powerful, amazing. But inside, you sometimes need to be vulnerable, need to put yourself out there. And so even on Sunday, when we talked about vulnerability, that is part of healing. That is part of getting new ideas. That is part of hope. So I know that you will love our show today because all my guests is gonna blow your socks off. So are you ready? Ask me, ask me. I am ready for my guest. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. So, are you ready to hear my beautiful sponsor, Jose Escobar? And then, as soon as the video is finished, my guest is here. My guest is here. I cannot wait. Here we go.
Is Jose Escobar. I live in Washington, D.C. area. I'm a family man. I'm an entrepreneur, coach, author, and speaker. I have communities. I support people. I'm a servant leader, and the list goes on. And I'm primarily the CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. That's my bread and butter. That's my core offer, right? That's where I put most of my time and energy. And the Connected Leaders Academy is a growing community. It's a tribe of some of the highest level entrepreneurs from all over the world. We're now over 350 plus members, 42 states across the US, and 17 international countries. If you're an entrepreneur out there that's looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more money, more clients, right? This is the community for you.
I told you my guest is here. My guest is here. I'm so excited. My beautiful guest, will you please introduce yourself and then also tell us what vulnerability means for you? I am going to start with Anne. My beautiful Anne, all over to you.
Good morning, everybody. Or good morning for me, everyone. My name is Anne James. I'm from Tunbridge in Tasmania. So just to correct, Sanet, Tasmania is part of Australia. We're just an island state. I guess I identify as we all do, by what we do. So I am a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, a wife, a grandmother. I'm also a writer and a storyteller, and I'm a retired registered nurse. Nursing for me is not just part of what I did, but it is part of who I am. It's written in my DNA. So, yeah. And for me, vulnerability means being able to go within to find your true inner strength and your true meaning and your true courage, and to open up and be able to face all that life presents to you head on, with authenticity.
Wow, I love it. And what time is it in the morning now?
It's
And that's in our future.
just after 4 a.m. in the morning, what I like to call stupid o'clock.
And wow, and you next to you is your beautiful sister. So my
Hmm.
beautiful Wendy, can you please introduce yourself? And it's also 4 o'clock where you are, just after
Yes,
4.
yes. Hi everyone. It's a pleasure to be here at this wakening hour on the other side of the world for to you all. So I live in beautiful Queensland in Australia. So Anne is down the bottom. I'm sort of halfway on the main continent at the top. My I Yeah, and you define yourself by what you've done in your past, but I define myself as being a wellness advocate all my life. So, and you'll hear the background story from that as to why that is really important to me. Registered nurse, retired just as Big Sis, and a wellness advocate for the last 10 years after a few changes that happened in my life. I'm also a family person. We've got 5 children between us, 2 little 20 granddaughters. They're 11 and they're the bubble in my life. They come here every Wednesday afternoon and brighten my day. But vulnerability means to me is what that means to me. It's a place of your own uniqueness that's shining through. Sometimes when we're in a place of vulnerability, we don't actually recognize that. And I think through the wisdom of time, you come to see those points in your life where you can see that that is your inner you trying to reach out and grab you and really awaken your own uniqueness that needs to come through. So, pleasure to be here and lovely to meet our fellow presenters today.
Wow, amazing. Thank you, my beautiful Wendy. My beautiful Krista.
Yes, so excited to be here. Thank you, and amongst everybody else. So, I'm Krista. I am from Canada, and I am Amazon #1 bestseller of the book Skip the Pain, Experience the Pleasure. And my tagline is cut the crap that's holding you back so you can live the life you love. Yes, I'm blunt. And I share in it basically who I am and things I've overcome. And what really is my passion is being a health advocate, an energy worker. I have a background in nutritionist, and what lights me up is being on stage or any TV shows like this and podcasts to share my message, to give clarity for people to stop living a life that is mundane, but to live a life they love. And what vulnerability means to me is it's okay to share your weaknesses and be authentic, but you need to take responsibilities for your actions instead of blaming other people.
I love it. Thank you, my beautiful Krista. And we're going to hear a little bit more about your book in a few seconds. My beautiful Aaron, can you please introduce yourself?
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, depending on where you're at. My name is Aaron Hymas. I'm the CEO of the E360 TV network, where this show plays, um, based out of Phoenix, Arizona. Hot Phoenix, Arizona. Um, yes, so that's me.
Oh, wow. And what does vulnerability means for you?
Well, I looked at it from a business aspect because that's the most applicable in my day to day life. But then, of course, it can roll over to personal relationships too. And I think of vulnerability as, um, one big things is, of course, in a leadership position, and whenever you find yourself in that leadership position, whatever it's personal or whatever it may be, I think it's being okay to know that you're not perfect and you are human. And I think I think what that does is it bridges a gap between you and other people, that that you are, no one's perfect and you're going to make mistakes, but going beyond that, and that that allowing that vulnerability and for those mistakes to happen and stuff is not only tolerated but celebrated, because that leads to sometimes the biggest achievements, is because, you know, there's not a straight path on anything. So I think there's a real good business reason for vulnerability, bottom line. And it really builds trust and enhances a team to be able to have that free flow of conversation. But I think that you can take that in your home at the same time, and showing to your spouse or whoever it is that, yes, I'm not perfect by any means. And so and you should probably do that early on in the relationship, versus just, by the way, 15 years in, I'm a wreck. Okay. I don't really know. I'm just joking. But anyways, that's my take on vulnerability.
Wow. Thank you, my beautiful Aaron. I'm going to go over to Stacy. Stacy, all over to you.
Hi, everybody. I'm coming to you from San Francisco, California, in the United States, where it's 11 o'clock a.m. And I am a productivity specialist and a professional organizer. So I find people in very vulnerable situations very often. And just to kind of frame how I think about vulnerability, I have to quote something from Brene Brown's book, The Gifts of Imperfection. And that's: shame is the intensely painful feeling or experience of believing that we are flawed and therefore unworthy of love, belonging, and connection. And shame needs three things to survive: secrecy, silence, and judgment. So I think of vulnerability as bravery. It's one's willingness to say, even if I feel like I might not be worthy of love, belonging, or connection, I'm going to say, I'm going to be my most authentic self. I'm going to put myself out there anyway. And I encourage people to do that as often as possible, because you never know until you try. And that shame piece, the piece that keeps us quiet, the piece that keeps us unwilling to be vulnerable, really keeps us small and doesn't let us live our most authentic lives. So I look forward to this conversation. I can hear we all have some fabulous perspective on this.
Wow, amazing. So I'm going to pull over. Darren have given us a message. He said, takes so much courage to be vulnerable. Thank you, my beautiful Darren. And he is our beautiful Krista's husband, and he's a big supporter of the Power Hour TV show. So thank you so much for that, Darren. So actual fact, Oren, I'm going to keep you muted, but the rest of you, I will not mute you, because there's quite a noise coming from your background. But as soon as I get to you, please, I will also remind myself to unmute you. So I'm going to be with Anne. Anne,
Yes.
you said you were a nurse for all your years. It is part of your DNA. I am sure that not only have you seen a lot of vulnerability through your clients, but also with yourself. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I certainly can. So yes, working as a nurse, and Wendy will attest to this as well, and any nurse who may be listening, we see patients and their families quite often at the most vulnerable times in their lives, where they have come in, they are sick, they have been diagnosed with a life-threatening, life-limiting, and you will see many reactions to that, and they vary. So you'll get the tough exterior, I'm strong, I can do this, I'm just going to move forward, and you'll get the easygoing one as well. It's okay, no problems. But then you'll also find those that completely fall apart. And it's helping them to move into understanding and acceptance and tapping into their own inner strength and resilience to face whatever they're going to face. And even that's that move towards that there is a recovery, you can move on, your life will continue. And I guess I translate that back into my own life, because I have been through many, many challenges throughout my life that we all do as we go through life. And for many years, particularly as a woman and as a newly registered nurse, a young mother, when our father got sick, I put on that tough exterior, that strong exterior to support my family, my mother, my sister. I had an infant child that I had to care for. I was working part-time, so home life, I didn't make time to look after me and care for myself. So I put up that mask, as you say, and didn't really move into that vulnerability and acknowledging the emotions that I myself was going through. And it wasn't until I was able to do that and process that I was really able to help others. Now, that took many years, and it took until I was writing my memoir, Seasons of My Life, which I wrote last year, and it is based around the four seasons or the 4 seasons of life. And I picked out distinctive moments during those four seasons. I'm in the winter of my life now, which I think is the most beautiful time. But it was writing that book I was inspired to write that book by my sister. She encouraged me to do it. It was a tongue-in-cheek moment, and I did it, and I just wrote it. It was amazing. And that's when I really stepped into my vulnerability, and I opened up to myself as I was writing about these times, the challenges with Dad's illness. He developed something called Guillain-Barré, and moving through that, raising the child, moving on, continuing the career. Then going through a divorce, which was particularly challenging. I hit my lowest and my darkest moments in the months after my divorce. And it didn't really take until I was writing this book that I truly opened up and I became vulnerable. It was put on the page about all those things that I did face and that I hid from the world and I hid from myself. So that book became quite a healing process for me and allowed me to move into, as I said, my authentic self and moving forward from that. I gave myself permission to forgive myself and to move forward. And then my own journey with chronic disease. So I was still working. I was working in general practice by that time. I was helping other patients navigate their life with chronic disease in collaboration with their other healthcare professionals. But the space that I created for them was a space where they could sit and they could open up and I could ask them, how can I support you and move forward? So that they could actually address the emotions, the fear, the uncertainty, the unknown. Is my life over? And that continues to be my passion. Even though, as I said, I was a retired nurse, I still want to help and motivate and help other people to navigate life and go beyond their limits and live the life that they deserve.
I love it. And you are going to do an amazing free masterclass for the Diamond Beauties next week. We are looking forward to
I
that.
am.
Thank you so much, my beautiful Anne. My beautiful Wendy, if I can then move over to you. I know that part of what you do now, you help amazing aspiration writers to start living the idea of writing a book. How much vulnerability as story strategist, a book strategist, much vulnerability do you see with this client in front of you? And then what will your advice be for this particular person that goes through this, must say, you know?
Sanet, it's a wonderful opportunity that I have at the moment that my publisher, when I met her 6 years ago to write my first book, and we must have been on the same brainwave, Krista, because mine is called Midlife Mojo, You're 50, Cut the Crap. So, and that is about, realize at a pivot point in your life that you realize that all of your lessons up until, 50-ish are teaching you the value of life. So you've just heard from Anne that I had a pivot point when I was very vulnerable at 17 by losing my able-bodied dad to this insidious disease that was no fault of his own. And it taught me the lesson of the value of life and the value of your uniqueness shining through, as I said at the beginning. And now that I've moved into the twilight of my nursing career, I reached a vulnerable point that I wanted to make some decisions around where I wanted to be personally. And I had the opportunity to join our publisher for that role. And the title of the role is called a book strategist. And that sounds very technical and operational, but it's not. When I speak to new authors coming through, they're very fearful. They've got their ideas for their concepts around their book, and they put on this mask, and I have to slowly bring that down to work out what is the true essence of what they're trying to write about. Where is their book going to lead them to, and what do they want to do beyond their book? And it's usually they have a very big vision that they want to impact the lives of others that may have been through something very similar to themselves, and they think that they're alone, but then they realize that they're not. There are many people around the world that need to hear the message that they have inside. And hence, that's why I said to Anne Tunning-Jeek, when she was telling me about her beautiful garden and how that was reflected of her life, I said, you need to write a book. And it sat with her for a week or so, not even that long. And then one day, and she came to our seminar, and hence she's written her book. I've gone on to actually write 3 books. This is the first book of a series. It's called Dear Nurse Me Reflections. Anne is actually a co-author in my 3rd book, and that is our vulnerability as nurses coming through both personally and also with some client stories. It's 2 a.m. in the morning where nurses hear the vulnerability from their patients. It's when everybody else has left and they're at the bedside and they're listening to their stories of what's actually matters to them. And here is where the professional nurse takes off our mask and we become human and we connect with them to listen. So this is what I mean by your vulnerability is your uniqueness shining through. It's the true reflection of what you have inside to help other people, to help themselves. And my gold nugget is around kindness. Kindness to others, but also being kind to yourself and listening to that vulnerability inside because it has a message to give to others.
That's so beautiful. And then I just wanted to say both of you and to all the nurses and doctors out there, thank you for all your service during COVID and after. We can only say thank you for your service. So thank you so much, my beautiful Wendy. My beautiful Krista, I would love to ask you, um, you know, there is a lot of what's going that people see your beautiful face, but there's a lot that is going on, and you show other people, you show up, but then there is also time that you also are vulnerable and have to take care of yourself. So how does that make you feel? And then your family around you. I'm just gonna mute Anne, and I will unmute it again. So your family around you. Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. So I'm going to step back a little bit. And years ago, I was hit head on by a full-size pickup truck, and I survived. And just before that, my best friend passed away. So I had this survivor's guilt. And that pushed me into like this perfectionism. I had to do everything right. And 1 year, 1 month, and 1 day later, I held my husband as he passed away in my arms. So I was a young widow and a single parent and trying to navigate the balancing of wanting to be this perfect parent, as well as I worked in hospitals and long-term care as a nutritionist and a director of the department, and wanting to balance that part out as well. So I had to be very vulnerable with my time. What happened is I didn't take care of myself. Slowly, I became sicker and sicker. And although I do already have previous health conditions, I found out I am suffering from a rare disorder. It's called anti-GAD65 and stiff person syndrome. It's a chronic illness, and I was given 4 years to live. At that time, I wasn't talking, I wasn't walking. I definitely wouldn't have been showing up here on TV, and I had to relearn how to do this. And I'm going on my 6th year. So I had to use the power of my mindset to really make a difference. And to further say how it impacted my family is, first of all, I have another family. So when my first husband passed away, and as I was holding him, and he was like saying, "I'm so sorry," he was trying. I was saying, "It's okay." He actually told me it was okay to get remarried. He wanted me to get remarried. And I'm like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not. You're going to fight this." But it was the best gift he could ever give me, because 7 years later, I did meet my best friend. And as you've seen how supportive he is, and I had 2 more children. So by making them a priority, instead of laying in bed and being, I call it patient syndrome, or being like that victim, you see me as sick, so I'm going to be sick. I had to push myself to say, I may be sick and sore in bed, but I may also be sick and sore at the kitchen table and be around them. So slowly I was able to do that. On the flip side, though, if I push myself too much, as you see, I'm sitting here with hair and makeup, and people say I look fine. They don't realize I am disabled. I had to give up my job, and that sense of losing my identity made me very, very vulnerable, made me go into a deep, deep depression. And again, that affected my family. But I always had that mask on, and I smiled, and I still would take those calls. So again, in writing my book as well, that's where I kind of tell that story. And one of the reasons why I wrote this book was because I was looking for all these books to help me through some of these struggles, but they're all depressing. At the end, it's like, oh my goodness, I cried. So my book is written like really in a happy, lighthearted way. So like people have told me, it's either will change your life or it will give you a good laugh. So it's a win-win. But I'm so happy to have the support of my family, and I do have to now take care of myself so I can show up and give my message of that there is hope. So, and I'm so thankful for being here.
Wow. And my beautiful Krista, you have showcased to so many, even on the Diamond Beauties, your strength, and you are our clarity expert in the Diamond Beauty group. So I just want to say thank you for everything that you are doing for us. And you are truly amazing. So my beautiful Aaron, I am going to unmute you so you don't have to worry. You were talking about vulnerability. First of all, tell us about your garden. You love garden. And then tell us a little bit more of maybe tips that you can bestow on the thought leaders that has big corporations that will maybe think vulnerability is not a good thing to bring in the company. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the garden. Let's talk
The
about the garden.
garden, yeah.
Talk about the garden all day. No, I'm more the landscaper around my house. My wife does better gardening than I do, but that's my exit from this world, or computer world. Um, but I think no, I think vulnerability in companies, in leadership positions, in culture. It's kind of old school thinking, really, that you gotta be big, that kind of stuff, because we've had a lot more, over the last couple decades, a lot more women get in those positions that brought a lot more empathy and those types of things into the workplace. versus the whole masculinity thing. And I think that allowed then men to embrace that, because they may have already been feeling that. But I think that vulnerability came along that whole track. And I think it's so intertwined with empathy and being human and just wanting to connect with people. And you can't really do that if you're just going to put up a fa personality and hide behind your suit and all those things. When if you really do want to connect, then you have to get down to that earth level, because that's what we all are. So I think the vulnerability comes along with it. It also allows you to be more free form in your conversations, because you're not trying to remember what you're supposed to talk about versus what you're not supposed to talk about. I don't want them to know this, because all of a sudden, when in all actuality, you bring out and you come out about your vulnerabilities in however you message that. And people are mostly like, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur, right? I've been doing this for whatever, 15, 16 years or something like that. And for the longest time, I was convinced by the dudes that would come in with their cool suits and talk big and all that kind of stuff. And then I found out more and more that those people were full of crap. And then when you really got in line with the true entrepreneurs and you were authentic and vulnerable with them, and you said some maybe profound things that those other people would have been like, don't say that. Those were the people that were like, yeah. And then that's where you can kind of get into your own, like, okay. And then it's vulnerability, and then it builds into confidence, because then you're like, well, this is reality. And then next thing you know, you don't know why you try to hide behind that mask for so long.
You just gave me goosebumps. Ooh, 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 ooh. Vulnerability turns into courage, bravery. I love it. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you, my beautiful Oren. Before I go to Stacy, I wanted to ask you one more question. I know that you have so many ideas and vision for E360 TV. When we come around, will you are you allowed to tell us a little bit about the ideas and things that you are going to put out there? If so, then you can just say yes, and then I can ask you the question when I come around. If you say no, I will ask you another question.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, perfect, perfect. I hear the noise is not as much. It's there. I'm gonna put you on mute. So Stacy, it's all over to you. So my question to you is, you are helping people that are vulnerable. So I know of quite a few people that have so many things they have from their room, they are from their room to their, it's just a small patch that I have to go through. And I'm sure you also do see quite a lot of that in your business. If you knew you're going to help somebody, how do you prepare yourself to be able to do that?
I have to be vulnerable myself because I'm often going into people's homes. I do a lot of virtual work now, but for years I was primarily going into people's houses and helping them declutter. And that seems like such a easy thing, declutter. Sure, I've got too much stuff. I'll just get rid of it. It's never that easy because people have so many associations to who they used to be, people they've loved and lost, who they aspire to be. They've got a lot of hobby type of things in their house that represent the type of person they wish they would like to be. They may have multiple sizes of clothing. Maybe they're feeling bad about the fact that they're one size when they used to be another, and they've got an entire set of clothes in their closet that tortures them every day when they open it. Once you start really going through the things with people, it brings up all these emotions and stories, and people want to talk and share, or they want to cry, and it makes them feel, just really icky and vulnerable. And I find that the easiest way for me to prepare myself for going into that situation and for just being there with them is I'm not trying to fix them. I'm not trying to solve all the problems in the world. I'm there. I hold whatever emotions they're having with them, tell them it's okay, encourage them to move forward. And I'm often sharing stories about my own life and trying to make myself as relatable as possible. And in fact, one of my moments of vulnerability, I'm here with a lot of writers today. I wrote a chapter in a book called My Mess is My Message Too, and I did that last year. That's how I met Sanet. And that was such an awesome experience for me because I've been writing for my entire life, but I never published it. I never let anybody read it. And I was so scared to death to put it out there. And the thing that ultimately pushed me over the hump is I was like, geez, I'm going to write about how I got into organizing, which is me having to come to terms with my own pile of stuff at home and the emotions that it evoked in me and the process, like how physically tiring it was and how emotionally tiring it was. And the ways that my life changed after I did that editing process. It really did change my life and it was hard. So I wanted to write about that and share it with other people. So I keep coming back to that with my clients. It's like, let's just be vulnerable together. Like, let's just agree that this shit is hard. It's really hard. And I think that is the thing that allows them to move forward.
I love that. And my beautiful Stacy, I'm going to bring you a little bit closer, not all of you closer. Just give me 1 second. There you are. Hello, everyone. So, my beautiful Stacy, I also that's why I said please stay a little bit after the show because I am going to tell you a little bit about our Diamond Moment magazine, and you can also write an article for us for that. So there is going to be more writing for you coming your way, my beautiful one. So, my beautiful Stacy, may I ask you, what makes you happy? What fills you up?
Oh gosh, being in nature, 100%, that's my number one. I'm outside as often as possible. And the closer to water I can be, the better. And I also really like food. So eating good food, cooking good food, and preferably with people I love. Those are the things I do to refill my battery.
Wow, I love that. So, my beautiful Oren, what makes you small and makes you happy?
I get to piggyback on that. I get to go hiking every morning. The dogs. That's my most special time of the day. It's the calm before everything, before this day starts, and just being able to hang out some hawks and some, and there's rabbits and a few coyotes, but that's when I feel the most calm. I should say, I would say happy is just calmness and good. So.
And I must just say, I spent a few hours with Oren on a production you have done for a charity, a big charity event, and you have cool gadgets. I was in control of one of the cameras, and it was like, wow, I love it. Go a little bit closer, come a little bit back. I'm almost talking on Afrikaans. So I really love your gadgets that you have helped me spend with you, my beautiful Oren. So thank you for that. My beautiful Krista, what makes you feel fulfilled and happy?
I think when I am my most authentic self and really can share my message because I'm here. I had near-death experience. I have no idea why I'm still alive, but that's not my decision. I'm here for a greater reason. So I have to step way outside my comfort zone. I'm saying way outside my comfort zone. I have to show up. I have to be honest. And one thing, Erin, I do want to say, because it popped in my mind, I used to say a lot of times that leadership is not about power, it's about being empowering. So just wanted to share that.
Wow, I love that. That is beautiful. Thank you, my beautiful Krista. Wendy, what puts a fire in your belly?
What makes me joyous, and I'll say joy rather than happy because it is pure joy that comes forward, is experiences. And I try and teach that to my grandchildren because it's bringing, if you remember being a child, it's not things that you remember, it's experiences. And I try and impart that to my grandchildren because coming to Nanny's house gives them experiences that they're going to live forever. And I think that's true for everyone. It's memories. You only have one life, one day at a time. So having each day as an experience is memorable. Like, I'm going to remember this for a very long time, this opportunity, this experience to actually speak to people around the world where we can, share our message out there. That's a wonderful platform that you have, Sanet. So congratulations to you. And that brings me joy that we know that our words are reaching far more than our front door. It goes around the world. It's wonderful.
That is so beautiful. Thank you, my beautiful Wendy. So, Krista also loved to talk about experience. And for me, before moving over to Anne, I tell everyone I am the experience because when I go to the bed at night, I will ask myself, Sanet, did you leave your sparkle in somebody's heart and memory for today? And I can, for the last 5 years, give a air tick, but it's now winter. So my hands is underneath the blanket, but then I will do a air tick with my head because that is all. All what we can do is create an experience for people to feel value and to see the love because of the interaction and the experience. So thank you so much, my beautiful Wendy. I didn't even know we have that in common. I love it. And I love to play every day. I love to play. And I cannot wait to see my grandchildren. They are in New Zealand and I'm going the end of September. And my new Aaron, my new grandson is coming the first week in October. So I'm so excited. My beautiful Anne, what makes you happy?
Am I off mute? Yes, I am. So moments. So moments that you experience every day, moments that you share every day. And it can be a word, a funny comment, a smile when we're with our grandchildren, particularly the younger ones, the little boys, whether we're with them in person or whether it is via Zoom. We do a lot of FaceTime and what have you as well. Reason behind that is I, Krista, as well, have a autoimmune condition that leaves me severely immunocompromised with disability. So I don't connect face to face a lot for various reasons. But we're on that Zoom and one of the grandchildren will just come on and go, "Hi, Nan. Hi, Nan." And then they're off again. And I just love that. And then them being so free and easy and relaxed when they're with you, so that they will share with our older grandchildren. So our 14-year-old grandson, he is so articulate. He is a deep thinker. He's very intelligent, but he will share and he will share quite happily. And that is what brings me joy and absolute joy and puts a smile on my face. I only have to if I'm in one of those moments where, so I call my autoimmune condition Jan. So when Jan is misbehaving or playing up and I can say, "Go away, Jan, thank you very much." All I have to, that in itself brings a smile to my face too, but all I have to do is close my eyes and think of my family, my home, my grandchildren. Joy.
Wow, I love it. I love it. Thank you, my beautiful
You
Anne.
asked me for a gold nugget earlier, which I forgot to give you, and it is what I say to my grandchildren, and it came from the book, and that is to be true to yourself, believe in and have faith in
Oh,
yourself.
wow. Thank you, my beautiful one. So, Stacy, do you have a tip for the viewers out there on vulnerability? Oh, I'm so sorry, Stacey. I did mute you. I'm so sorry.
I muted
Okay.
myself. I think that people are very reluctant to be their most authentic selves because there's risk. They feel like there's risk. There's always the chance that somebody is going to think you're weird. I don't know, maybe stupid. It doesn't matter what the pejorative is, but you just never know for sure how people are going to react. So this one thing that you might be holding back because you're really reluctant to share, it could be the thing that's a light bulb moment for another person. It could be the thing that inspires them to be authentic and more vulnerable with the next person that they encounter. You have no control over anything at all. And so I would just say, do your best to release that fear and go ahead and say the thing, do the thing, be the person you know you are, because not everybody is going to like it, and that's fine. But the people that do, that see you, they really see you and they need to.
Wow, I love that. Thank you. Krista, do you have a tip for the viewers out there on vulnerability?
I will echo that. For me, is getting out of your comfort zone. I know for so many people like me, I was in fear of judgment and rejection. So by getting out of my own way and out of my comfort zone, I had no idea the amount of people I would impact. And nobody knows that the one thing they say or the one thing they may do or the one thing they may put themselves out there for, they may change someone's life. So that would be my message.
Wow, I love it. And my beautiful Oren, do you want to share in 1 or 2 minutes your big vision? And then can you also give us a tip on vulnerability?
I'll make you the vision fast for E360. Just work it, gonna expand, and we want more voices. We want more voices, and we want more diversity. That's always a goal. But I'd say to Stacy, piggybacked on you twice here. But one, you have no control, and two, you're just not that important. And so you can let your guard down and be out there. But it's a practice. But I think the sooner a person does that, the better off they're going to be, because they're going to find out that one people don't care about their vulnerability. They're like, yeah, everyone's scared of that, you know. And then two is that it just allows them to move more freely through their own universes and in and out of other people's. And I think they're gonna form better connections with so many more people, whether it's someone you meet in a supermarket or whether it's with in a work environment, whatever it may be. I think they're just going to have more authentic experiences, as I think Wendy mentioned. So that's what I'd say.
Wow, I love it. Thank you so much. And you, my beautiful Wendy?
I think the human body is such an amazing thing, and inbuilt in there is a subconscious way for your body to tell you that you are actually vulnerable. I certainly ignored a few signs in my earlier years, and it wasn't until I was older that I could look back and recognize that I was actually in a vulnerable place. So, my key tip is to tune in. Tune in to what your body is telling you and listen. Listen to that, because it is teaching you a lesson that you can apply when you're in a same situation, and recognize and connect with that, because it is showing your uniqueness, and it is trying to show you the strength that you have inside to be able to come out. So my key tip is tune in to your own body symptoms that are telling you that you're in a vulnerable state, and learn the lesson that your body is teaching you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you, my beautiful Wendy. And I want to come to you for your tip, but can you do it in 30 seconds?
I can. Echoing everybody, it is about opening up not being afraid to be uncomfortable, to have the conversation and to listen both to yourself and to those around you.
You are so good, my girl. 30 seconds. My beautiful viewers out there, I hope that you had found some golden nuggets in our show today. And then to all my diamond beauties and Tanzanite heroes, thank you for being an amazing community. And I have to ask my guest first, so give me a minute, my beautiful viewers. My beautiful Anne, my beautiful Wendy, Krista, Aaron, and Stacy, will you have a dance with me?
Yes.
Yes.
My beautiful viewers out there, will you have a dance with us? They said yes, they said yes. Here we go.